Hi everyone, and welcome to the Libra June 2022 Illumination reading. Hi and welcome. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. And what does that mean? That means we're going to be taking a look here at a challenge that Spirit is asking you to face this month, that in you meeting this challenge and overcoming it, you're going to engage with your unique spirit. And you're going to, through engaging with your unique spirit, discover something about yourself, about who you are and your own heroic capabilities and their place in this world. And that's also that you can better experience those feelings of purpose, passion, and ultimately emotional fulfillment. Okay, so Libra, let's jump into the reading here. I'm going to pull some cards so we can get the foundation for what you're kind of coming into the month of June with. And then we'll take a look at the challenge. So I want to thank everyone for, as I'm shuffling the cards here, for those of you who have continued to support my channel. I so greatly appreciate it. And for those of you who are new, hi and welcome. And also, I just want to let everyone know, if you have not visited my site recently, I do have one additional reading available starting this month, which is a $25 Ask a Question reading, where you can send a question and I will create a 15-minute reading helping clarify the answer to that question. Alrighty, so let's take a look here. Oh, okay, Libra. All right, so you are coming into the month of June a little bit with the energy kind of holding back. The Four of Pentacles is one where we are kind of restricting the usage of our time, our energy, our money, anything that really pertains to the physical, to what we can invest in something in the physical. And we're sitting with the energy of kind of holding tight to what we have. Now, in the external environment, we have Six of Swords, we have Death, and we have the Knight of Pentacles, which is always interesting. I think it's kind of wild when these two cards come up together like this, because these two cards look, as you can see, very similar to each other. It's almost like it's the same card, except one harnesses the energy of death and one harnesses the energy of planning for growth, for future growth. Now, for some of you, when I'm looking at the Six of Swords coming in here, Six of Swords is a card where we are moving on. We are transcending something in our environment that had been limiting in a kind of in a mental way for us. So something where we had kind of been stuck in the past, and now we get the chance to move on and transcend on a mental level so that we can then actually transcend whatever was limiting us on a physical level. Because when we make that perception or that perspective change within, we get to then see that realized without. And that's going to bring that change in perspective, that ability to move on is really going to allow you to, I think, transform some aspect to release through death, really letting go of something to allow that energy then to be transformed into one of building again for the future. Because for you, this whole month is about unlocking your ability to create your Ten of Pentacles. This is your kind of ultimate realization of a physical manifestation of what you would love to leave behind. This is like your ultimate legacy card. I'm going to actually pull additional cards to see what's lying underneath that. And yes, okay, so I think now for some of you also, this could be kind of the wrap up perhaps. The Ten of Pentacles also signals the end of a cycle. So this could be actually where some of you are walking away from something that you've already invested in, something where perhaps you had put in a lot of time, energy, money, and you had thought at one point that that was going to be your legacy. You thought this was going to be my family experience that I would always be living in. It's just the home that I invested in, and the partner, and the 2.5 children. Or this is the career path that I had invested, or the business that I built. But what I'm seeing underneath here with the Tower and the Ten of Wands is that there has been a realization of I think an imbalance of where you kind of felt like you were carrying the heavy load. The Ten of Wands is when we basically feel that we are carrying kind of the weight of the world on our shoulders, and we are having to bear that burden ourselves. Now, it also does signal, also being the number 10, also the end of a cycle. This can also be a card that represents homecoming, that you have finally carried all of this burden and you are coming home with it. But with the Tower coming in, this is a very strong realization, a shakeup in your either internal or external world that has taken away something that I think at one point had provided a sense of security. But when the Tower comes in, this is when basically Spirit is freeing us from something that we are clinging to out of a false sense of security. And I think seeing all these cards together, there is this element of, I think you were bearing the burden for so long of, I think, working towards something. And recently coming into, so this could have happened again, in the past few months. This could have happened actually just right around the corner. But there's something here that there's been a revelation. Something has changed dramatically. And I believe it's your realization that you've kind of been having to carry a big burden all on your own. And you're going to have to release that. We can only carry this so long, and eventually we have to put it down. And I think in the realization of that comes really being able to see what you actually want for yourself, what you actually want to manifest, versus, if you notice, this guy kind of has his head down. He's carrying the burden and he's walking, but he doesn't really have his head up. He doesn't have an eye to where he is and what he's working towards and the actions that he's taken. So it's almost like every step he takes, he has no idea how close or how far away from this Ten of Pentacles he really is. And so for some of you, this could actually be that crazy breakthrough moment where you pick your head up and realize, oh my gosh, I am living my Ten of Pentacles. I actually have made it to that point. And that's where you're going to have this moment of kind of a change in your perspective, of one where before you were kind of having to fight the battles, carry the burden yourself, and now suddenly you're able to change that perspective to one of, oh my gosh, I am here. And now I can see how I want to continue to invest and plan for the future, knowing that I'm already in my Ten of Pentacles energy, or I've already set myself up for the Ten of Pentacles. The other side of the coin for some of you could be actually where you pick your head up and you realize, I don't want to be here. This is not what I was expecting. I thought I was working towards one thing, and suddenly I realize I'm in the midst of something else. And I think that's really why you're coming into the energy of this month, holding yourself back. It's almost like you're waiting for this revelation to occur, to see, am I actually in the middle of my legacy and I can continue to invest? Or was I going in the wrong direction? Was I keeping my head down and I kind of missed the mark? And so this is going to be here where we get that opportunity to change, to either release a tie to a negative thought pattern where we thought we were never going to kind of make it, or release a tie to where we thought we were creating one thing and now we have to kind of release that. This might be where, let's say, you realize you do have to walk away from a marriage and the life that you thought you were creating because it wasn't what you were expecting. And now you get a chance to transform that death energy of one kind of Ten of Pentacles legacy, and you get a chance to transform that now into building again for the future. For some of you, I'm just going to say this, there may be a Virgo in your life. The Knight of Pentacles is a Virgo energy. So there may be that somehow you are transcending an interaction with a Virgo. But that's going to be a very specific message, probably just for one of you, or maybe just a few. But again, there is this energy of really holding yourself back, kind of waiting, I think, to see what clears after this Tower energy comes through. All right, so let's go ahead now and pull additional cards, Libra, to take a look at what is the challenge. Why are, what are you being asked to face and overcome to really unlock something about yourself? And when you think about unlocking something, when you think about a hero facing a challenge and suddenly their spirit kind of rises to the occasion and that heroic capability of theirs comes out, that's really what you're being asked to do in the month of June around something that, again, is going to allow you to experience some aspect of your own heroic capabilities. Now, obviously, for each of us, that will be different. But for you, part of that heroic capability is going to be where you want to invest your time and energy and how. What part of yourself are you going to be able to invest to really have an eye for what you want to create for yourself? So it's going to actually be a very empowering month. So we have the Moon, the Empress, the Hierophant, Seven of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, and Judgment. Ooh, all right. Let's dive in here, Libra. So Libra, right off the bat, the card that's in your main challenge position is the Moon. And the Moon is a card of lack of clarity. It's one where what I always find interesting is, for me, the Moon and the Judgment card harness very similar energies. There is this feeling of when the Moon comes out, it's kind of being called up, where you feel intuitively that there is this call to leave a comfort zone. And you're being called to kind of walk this path on faith, because you're being called to leave one habitat or environment that seemed to suit you, and you're being called up to kind of go on almost like a journey, a quest out from that comfort zone into what seems to be kind of shadowy and dark. But yet, on some level, just like how we can feel, the pull of the moon and the tides and all of that, there is that kind of calling. But there's also this feeling of that lack of clarity but I can't see the way clearly, and I don't know kind of what's up ahead. And this can become a challenge especially when we're sitting kind of in this energy of wanting to invest time, energy, and money, but we don't know kind of where, how. The way seems unclear. And it also seems unclear too that maybe we're waiting for a specific result. We want a guarantee. And with the Empress coming in on the other side, this is a reminder, Libra, that, and it's actually an energy or a card that harnesses your energy. It's a card that harnesses the energy of Venus. In Libra, you are a sign ruled by Venus. And this is a reminder that you're the Empress. The Empress is the card that speaks to our ability to create for ourselves. It is a strong feminine energy that we are able to take in from our environment, receive that receptive energy, and then give birth to what we want to create for ourselves. And so there's this reminder here of, it's not so much, Libra, about wanting that guarantee of an outcome. It's about reminding yourself of what do you actually want to create for yourself and your own creative ability to do so. At the core, or the heart of your reading, we have the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is a card that harnesses, this is really what Spirit's asking you to embrace, to be able to overcome this challenge and to unlock some aspect of yourself that is going to, again, allow you to better understand your path and purpose. That the Hierophant harnesses the energy of Taurus. It's one that speaks to having a higher vision. It is actually the high priest in this in the tarot. But there's also the element too of structures. The Hierophant represents the structures, the societal norms, the cultural norms, the religious norms, and even the rules and kind of judgments that we hold ourselves accountable to. So this is a card kind of commitment. What we've decided to commit ourselves to following and to living within. And it's an energy where we get the chance to realize that sometimes when we are faced with kind of this kind of life-changing realization of, wait a second, I got to put down this burden. I don't have to carry this all myself. The towers come down. I can kind of see see where things either are not quite right, or to see actually where things maybe are better than expected. But then we can step up into this energy of like, okay, well, hold on a sec, but I want to make changes now. I want to do something different, but I I can't walk away from my significant other because we're married and I made a commitment, and that commitment was before the eyes of God, and my religion tells me that this was for better or for worse, and I have to stay with this person and I have to do that. And sometimes what we have to realize is, again, we make the decision to as to where we stay committed. And we can sometimes carry burdens a lot farther than we need to because we are stuck in that energy of, yes, but I committed. I made that commitment. I told this workplace that I would be here for 5 years and see this project through to completion, even though now everything about my work environment is horrible and stressful, and I feel like I'm the one doing everything, and that wasn't right to begin with. I still have to stick through it because my word is my is my, whatever. It's almost kind of that feeling. And this is saying we actually get to make that choice in our life as to the rules that we follow, as to, even when you think about it, societal norms are just societal norms. That's it. We are the ones who make the choice to kind of stay in line with them. Additionally, when you look at laws and regulations, yes, we do actually make the choice to follow those rules and regulations. You could choose to not follow them, and then you will have to obviously bear the consequences of what that might mean for yourself. But this is where we realize our kind of own intrinsic freedom in where we choose to stay committed to something, or where we get a chance to free ourselves from that and to allow what we want to create for ourselves to be, to allow us to be able to freely create this 10 of Pentacles for ourselves. So you're really being asked this month, Libra, to analyze your own internal rules, regulations, judgments, expectations, and your own commitments. And to step up into the highest energy of the Hierophant, which is the High Priest, to have that higher vision for yourself, what you want to create, and what would feel like a 10 of Pentacles for you. Because that's really going to allow you to see perhaps where you've been holding yourself back, kind of under an illusion that you have to do things this way. You have to stay with this person. You have to stay in this career path. You have to go to college. I mean, this can be all kinds of things where all of a sudden we realize, oh my gosh, I've been so stressed out for 2 straight years going to school, studying around the clock, and I'm burned out. And it's not actually in alignment anymore with what I want. But I have to go to college because everybody goes to college. And if you don't go to college, then you'll never get a job. And this is when you have to realize, well, who is holding you accountable to that? It's yourself. Again, there's always other ways to create. And this is where you get that chance to really kind of break through and see what's in my best interest. What commitments do I need to break or make, or where do I choose to follow certain rules that maybe are actually a detriment to me being able to invest and create and take action in a way that's healthy for me. Now, on the other side of this, we have the 7 of Swords, and this is that revelation, that realization of where you are kind of the self-sabotage, where you are kind of, I think, almost wanting to run away from that realization of, wait a second, I don't have to stay married to this partner for my entire life. I did at the time when we got married. I said in sickness and in health, and I said till death do us part. But I've grown in such a way, we've both grown in such a way that doesn't actually work for me anymore. That is not allowing me to get to my 10 of Pentacles. And for some of you, I think you've been kind of trying to kind of skirt the issue of either leaving a commitment long-standing in a place of work, leaving a commitment long-standing perhaps in a relationship that it's time to walk away from, or even leaving a commitment to something else. Like you committed to yourself that you are going to see something through. And this is where you're going to have that realization of, oh, yeah, I've been trying to kind of run from that. I've been trying to avoid actually having to recognize that, I have to deal with this specific area in my life, this specific commitment. Because then we step up into the Ace of Pentacles, which is a fresh start with Judgment coming in underneath that. That's a really powerful combination, Libra. And it's in your final challenge position, which I think for some of you, you know that this fresh start is literally waiting for you. When Judgment comes up, this is when we have heard the call. This is when that Tower moment came, something was revealed to you, that you really, really wanted. And that has changed within yourself. And for some of you, there's this lack of clarity of, yes, but what if I do decide to finally walk away from this relationship that has held me back? I mean, what is that going to mean for me? And that might be what you're waiting for. It might be why you're holding yourself back, saying, am I going to have enough to support myself? Am I going to have a place to live? Am I going to be able to provide for my children? This could also be where maybe all of a sudden you've realized it's time to leave a place of work or to change career paths completely. And you've heard that call, and that fresh start, that opportunity is waiting for you to take it. But you're like, but I don't know I don't know about the guarantee. Am I actually going to make the same amount of money? Is it going to pay off the way that I am hoping it will? And so that's why you're kind of holding yourself back. And I think for some of you, this is actually just gearing up in preparation for this change, this Ace of Pentacles, this new start that's coming in, and which again is going to allow you to transcend and leave something behind that has prevented you from really being able to plan ahead for your own future. This is, I'm going to just say this, Libra, a month where you have the opportunity to really free yourself. With the Hierophant coming up in the middle here and Judgment coming up with the Ace of Pentacles, this is that opportunity to step up into the highest version of yourself, of what you can create for yourself, to really realize where you have been holding yourself back, where there is something in your life you've been kind of kind of skirting around the issue, and to really step up into that place of the High Priestess for yourself, or the High Priest for yourself, of, I don't have to carry the burden of this any longer. I get to make the rules. I get to plan for my future, and I get to leave the past behind. I get to move on in a mental way from, that's really what the Six of Swords represents, moving on from, kind of choppy waters to calmer waters. And I am going to create that for myself. I'm going to realize this opportunity that's being presented for me right now to step up into this new version of myself, the self that's being called forward. And I'm going to do so with faith. That's what the moon asks. Can you walk this new path on faith? All right, let's go ahead and pull a card now for the concept of curiosity. And this is where we're going to really kind of tap into the more spiritual side to our experience, because when you think about what is our spiritual side, well, this is us staying open and curious to our experience. The spiritual aspect of our experience speaks directly to all the things we will never know about our experience. And that's why we always have to kind of stay in this present place of the optimistic, curious child, understanding that no matter how old we are, no matter how much experience we have, there's always going to be something new around the corner, something we don't know and don't expect. And this is where we get a chance to allow that little room for miracles and hope to enter into our life. So we have the Thinking Woman, number 47, breaking down to Master, number 11. I love that. And Action, number 17, breaking down to an 8, which is personal empowerment. That is empowered leadership. I love this for you, Libra. So Libra, you are an air sign. You are a sign that is ruled by the head, by your mental experience. And you really have that ability to see all sides of of your experience. That's why sometimes it can be a little hard for you to make a decision, because you have that ability to see somebody else's perspective along with your own at the same time. But this is asking you to stay open and curious to harnessing your own ability, to saying, what can I see? How can I use my ability to strategize and to take all of the different pieces of my experience, and how can I take that and really turn that into, with the number 47 turning into the master number 11, where can I create a portal for myself, a doorway that I can walk through? And I like with action, this card always kind of represents the Chariot card for me in the tarot, where you're getting your head and a heart in alignment. That's what the two different colored horses represent. And you're taking action towards kind of almost like whipping the horses, getting the chariot moving back on your path. I feel like some of you kind of been stuck in this stagnant energy of just, you haven't been going in the way that you wanted to. Something has not been working, and you're realizing it. You're realizing again that there's a 10 of Pentacles out there waiting for you, and it's not exactly, I think, what you had thought you were working towards at this time. And there's a moment now where you get this almost like a chance to course correct. You get this beautiful opportunity to stay open and curious to, I think, what's going to come in for you, almost like an idea, and where can you, and it's going to stay curious as to where a possible just kind of out of the blue idea, or where as you're strategizing, all of a sudden it's like that aha moment of like, that's where I need to take action. That's what I need to do. And for some of you, it's really just saying, stay open and curious to working with your own superpower, again, of really bringing yourself into that mental space of analyzing your situation and seeing how you can change the rules of the game, and where you can take action to start to get yourself back in a place where you can, again, make use of this beautiful opportunity that's going to be life-changing for you right now. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to pull a card here now for the concept of courage, and this is where we're going to move kind of from the spiritual realm into the realm of the present moment, into the physical moment. This is where we're taking a look at being courageous and where you want to take action. You know, this didn't feel right. That kind of came out sloppy. I'm going to do this again. All right. Oh, I like this. Okay. So we have surrender to complete healing. It says, open fully to the loving, compassionate forces of the universe that support your physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. I really like this for you because I feel like this whole spread is really speaking to that, especially with the 6 of Swords coming in over here and the Ace of Pentacles with Judgment. A fresh start for a new version of yourself and a massive perspective shift that's going to free you to start moving forward again. And in order for you to be able to do that, you do have to surrender to healing. It's time to let go of the burdens you had been carrying for yourself and others. It's time for you to release, I think, a tie to a commitment that has been a long-standing source of, I think, just limitation for you. You know, again, when we think of this card, the 6 of Swords being one of transcendence, this is where you have been very limited by something in your environment. And that limitation suddenly now, with a perspective change, with your ability to kind of step up into this mental aspect, you're seeing the reality of it. You're seeing what you haven't wanted to see previously. And you're able now to see that limitation and to see how easily actually you can walk away from it. And to realize that, yes, the world around you is loving and compassionate, and you deserve that support. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders as you start to move towards the new. And again, this is all going, when you really lean into this is going to give you the opportunity to really leave something from the past behind and transform it into, it's almost like taking the energy of death and transforming it into the energy of of planning for the harvest. That's what I'm feeling here, of planning for the harvest, planning for the future. Something that you thought either was dead and was never going to bloom into something, or something that needed to be let go, that you're just releasing that energy and saying, I'm letting that go. I'm letting that commitment go, and I'm going again. I'm instantly turning this over into the fresh opportunity. Okay, so now we're going to pull a final card here for the concept of contemplation. And this is where we move now from the physical realm into the realm of the mental, which is our head space, our thoughts. This is where we get to reflect, carry this point of reflection throughout the month of June, so that you are fully engaging both your spiritual side, your physical side through courage, taking action, and now your mental aspect by keeping this point of reflection in mind. Whether it's just something you kind of keep at the back of your mind as you move through the month, or whether it's just something as you build in meditation time or alone time that you just, again, have that point of holding up all of the actions you're taking throughout the month up to this point of reflection. So what does Libra need to know for the month of June around where they should be engaging mentally to help them see where they really need to release their ties to previous commitments, and where it's time for them to release the burden and make use of this new opportunity coming in for them. And this isn't even just a new opportunity, Libra. This is a new opportunity for the new you. With Judgment coming in, that's really what this speaks to specifically. Ooh, what does Libra need to know? Sorry, this is taking... Oh, beautiful. All right, so we have soul family. It says, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. Very interesting. So I think sometimes when we go through these kinds of really deep revelations that are truly life-changing, where we realize we do have to change career paths or walk away from a long-standing job, or we have to go through something messy like a divorce or changing our home life or where we're living, that sometimes where we can get stuck is, and especially when we maybe don't have enough, this can also be that feeling of, I have to kind of hold on to what I have because I don't think I'm going to have enough to actually make this happen. So this can be where we're kind of clinging to wanting to maybe, let's say, leave a partner, go through that divorce, but we feel like, but yes, I might not have enough to pay rent someplace else. I might not have enough to, I don't know what this is going to entail. Are we going to have to get, sorry guys, let me just adjust that. I might have to get a lawyer. And this is where we realize we don't have to do it alone, that we have people there with us, so that if there's somebody that can help by reaching out to others and kind of making that decision to make the change, that you get the chance then. The universe never asks you with the judgment call, never asks you to step up into something that you're not fully capable of meeting that challenge. And the universe will always support those who are courageous in taking action when they hear that call. And that's when the crazy support comes out of the blue. That's when you get that random check in the mail for some crazy rebate that is just enough to cover the cost of something that you desperately need in the moment. Or you get that call from a friend who says, oh my gosh, my roommate just moved out. I have an extra spare room. Would you, do you or somebody else, could you use that room? It's something like that, where there's these opportune moments that we realize how much help is out there for us when we have the courage to really take action and engaging what the universe is actually asking us to unlock about ourselves. So this would be like being called up to, let's say, make a job change. And you're worried that this might, maybe I'm not going to make enough money. Maybe I'm who knows? You never know, again, what people have to deal with. This can be where maybe if you leave one place of business in a specific field, there's going to be this, it's going to be the word gets out and suddenly you're maybe seen as like the black sheep in the career field. And you think, well, how am I ever going to, work my way back up to this level again if I leave and the word gets out that I broke this commitment or whatever it is. And then out of the blue, what you're going to realize is that suddenly somebody's going to come in around you to say, oh, don't worry. Like, I know somebody who knows somebody, and they're going to make sure that you're taken care of over there. And suddenly, because you were strong enough to take that fresh opportunity and to hear the call and you did it, all the things you were worried about that you felt weren't going to actually, that you were going to have to deal with can kind of all of a sudden just be wiped away. Or somebody says that they know somebody on LinkedIn and that, don't worry about it. They have a million followers. They're going to write a little article about you and suddenly everybody thinks you're wonderful and sees you from a different perspective. It's kind of strange synchronicities like that. And I can't tell you, Libra, how many times in my life when I have gone through these difficult moments, and I have myself gone through a very difficult divorce. I have been in a place where I didn't know if I left, if I would have enough money to pay for a place to live. Ultimately, I ended up having my family offer me to live at home. And that was something that, again, I've gone through this very scenario, Libra, where I felt I had to stay in a committed relationship. I felt I had to hold myself to staying in a committed place of work. I have gone through all of these things that I'm using as examples because I have experienced them myself. And every single time when I didn't know maybe where my next paycheck was coming from, or I didn't know how long I would be able to stay in a specific place, out of the blue, somebody would come in to help me. And it was incredible. I mean, I would literally, and I can't tell you how many times this has happened, probably 5 or 6 times really in my life where there was an outstanding bill that I had to pay and I had no idea how I was going to pay it. And suddenly I would literally get a check in the mail and of course it was always kind of for a sad reason, meaning like it would be some place I'd worked in previously a million years ago had a lawsuit against them. And everybody who had worked for X amount of time back in between these years got a little bit of a payout because of that. And I would get literally a check in the mail, something strange like that would be for exactly the amount I needed to be able to cover that bill that I had. And again, I had to kind of keep my head down and kind of just keep one step moving as I heard this call to make these changes, to make use of the opportunities presenting themselves. And this is that reminder that there are those around you who are there to support you. Who there are going to be, whether it's just strange synchronicities, that random person who meets you in the parking lot and says, wow, your car really is in need of some repair. My husband owns a repair shop. You look like you might be struggling a little bit. Can we help? Maybe do something for free for you. Or you never know. I mean, I have all kinds of crazy stories from people that I know where a stranger out of the blue offered to gift them with a car that they had free of charge just because they saw the need of that other person. The kindness and the love that is out there when we take responsibility for our own well-being and following our own passions, following our heart, and following the call that Spirit's asking us to follow, that it's amazing the support from the universe that comes when we, again, step into taking responsibility for our own emotional well-being and for the creation of our own legacy. All right, so Libra, I'm going to leave you here. There is an extended to this reading if you would like to dive a little deeper, where we're going to take a look at the energies of love for the month of June, and then actually pull clarifier cards for the majority of the cards here on the deck to really get deeper into this new opportunity, into it. What is this commitment that you're too afraid to walk away from? And then we'll actually pull an additional final card to get a final message for the month of June to provide you with a little bit more clarity as you move through the month. Again, you can click on the Vimeo link in the description box below to view that. Also, if you'd like to visit my website or book a personal reading, the link to that is also in the description box below. But I wish you all a wonderfully empowering, illuminating, and freeing month of June. And I really wish for all of you the courage to take action on your own behalf and know that you will be fully supported as you do that. All right. Bye, Libra. Love you guys. I look forward to reading for you again in July.